Yeah. Mm. Yeah, morning all. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether screen is visible or not, right?
Yeah, screen will be visible.
Fine. So yesterday we had a session, right? Demo session. Just I was briefing you about this Azure Data Engineer, role of Azure Data Engineer. Just I take 5-10 minutes what we have discussed previously, right? Just a second. So cloud is majorly utilized for storing, analyzing, and delivering data in various forms. So if we talk about the on-premises compared with cloud premises, so data engineer with the help of these cloud services, they work on the data and make it structured and useful. If we talk about the on-premises, we need to set up our own hardware infrastructure, OS installation, purchases of database license, installation of database server, designing a database objects. To maintain all this, again, we require separate teams like a hardware team, operating system team, networking team, security team, and database administrator. But here, everything in the cloud. No need to maintain all this. No need to maintain any infrastructure, right? Yes. So data engineer is responsible for the smooth data flow from the source to the destination, right? So data engineer responsible for preparing the data, that is pulling the data, extracting the data, cleansing, filtering the data, and transforming the data as per the required form, processing the data. Data, see if we talk data engineer and data scientist, the difference between right data engineer, data scientist, and analyst. Data scientist is going to strategize for the future, is analyze the data, identify the patterns, recommendations for the future. Data analyst, he summarizes the past, he is going to analyze the data, visualizes the data. So data engineer does all the groundwork for the data scientist and analyst. More than 80% of the data analysis work is done by data engineers. Data engineering involves what are the sources of the data, from where you need to bring the data from, what is the format of the data, how to transform data, what is the destination of the data. What is the format of the data, transform, what is the destination of the data. Okay. Why Azure Data Engineer is in demand today? What are the roles of Azure Data Engineer? Right. So data engineer. So if you talk about any company, right? You talk about any company, if you want, an organization wants to increase the business, right? So utilizing the customer data on its website. The organization using Azure for its operations. So it is mainly going to hire two people, data engineer and data scientist. Data engineer first is going to create the data warehouse for his organization. So data warehouse, something like a structured and queryable data. It contains data from various sources. Data engineer structures the data, stores it, monitors it in the data warehouse. Data engineer keeps constantly interacting with the data scientist to understand the data requirement, and also communicates with the business team to know the business requirements of this data, and also keep in mind the business needs while dealing with the data in hand. Right? So yeah, they keep on, data engineer keep constantly process the data, monitors the data, right? Yes, he creates data pipelines which is integrated with all the phases of the data flow. Role of Azure data engineer, right? First one, Azure data, see, designing a data flow architecture, creating data warehouse for the storage of analytical data, performing ETL, right? ETL is one of the key tasks of data engineers, right? Extracting data from different sources and load the data into company's storage service for the further business evaluations by the data scientist. Data monitoring is also one of the key tasks of data engineer to check whether the data is available everywhere and anywhere it is required. Data security. Data security is the major responsibility of data engineers to secure each step of the process without any data leaks or data exposures. Collaboration and communication. Data engineers keeps on communicating with the data scientists to know the business requirements, all that, and delivering the data as per the needs, and also communicates with the business team. Check if the team needs any data insights. Analytics, right? Yes, analytics. So you need to have some analytical skills for performing this analysis and automation. Certain things has to be automated, like such as which require minimal human intervention. Yes. I was talking about this Azure data engineering products and services. Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Streaming, Azure Key Vault, Azure SQL. It's simply, I can say it's a cloud or DBMS for OLTP operations. Azure Data Lake, distributed file system. It's a kind of file system, that too distributed file system with unlimited storage and also supports all varieties of data, structured, unstructured, and semi-structured. Azure Databricks. Okay, Azure Data Lake. Okay, Azure Synapse. And it's a kind of data warehouse kind of environment. It's also for big data operations, for analytics. Azure Data Factory. In a simple way, it's a cloud-based ETL. Cloud-based ETL. Azure Databricks, right? It's a Apache Spark-based data analytics platform. Cosmos DB, simply I can say NoSQL database. Cloud-based NoSQL database, similar to MongoDB. Here we have got Cosmos DB. Azure Streaming, capturing Hive data streams, right? Multiple sources simultaneously. Azure Key Vault, protecting the data in the cloud, right? These are the main data engineering products or services. So mainly like ADF, ADB, Synapse is the main thing that we will be dealing in this course. I'll be discussing ADF, Azure Databricks, Synapse, and Databricks with PySpark. Yes. So if I talk about this ADF, zero coding is involved. ADF, no coding is involved. Zero coding is involved, right? Zero coding is involved. Yes. So no, there is no prerequisites for ADF especially. Everything will perform drag and drop. Everything you perform drag and drop. But if you see version to version, right? Previously, as compared with the previous version of ADF, the new version, what you see, how much flexible for this developers, right? Yes. Yeah. You can just observe this. Okay. So actually, if you talk about this ADF versions, the previous version you need to have a lot of knowledge, lot of prerequisites required. But the current ADF version, there is no prerequisites. Everything drag and drop. ADF versions. ADF version 1, ADF version 1, and ADF version 2. And secondly, ADF version 2. We have got two versions. Now we are going with ADF version 2. But in ADF version, how it was, now if we compare with ADF version 2, how flexible it is. In ADF version 1, say generally, this ADF is used for ELT, extract, load and transform. ELT. ELT or ETL. We say like ETL or ELT, anything is fine. Extract, ETL. ADF version 1. If I talk about ADF version 1, it is used to perform EL only. It is used to perform EL only, not ETL. EL only. Means transformation means here. I mean to say there were no inbuilt transformations. There were no inbuilt transformations. There were no inbuilt transformations. To perform transformations. Some additional services required. To perform transformation, some additional services required, such as okay, there's a only it's a online batch. Okay, ADLA. So to perform transformation, some additional services required, such as ADLA, Azure Data Lake Analytics. It is available for, okay, it is available, see, Azure Data Lake Analytics, right? To perform transformations, some additional services required previously. Yes, like ADLA is required. Your analytics are done by USQL. The analytics are done by USQL. Unified Structured Query Language. USQL, Unified Structured Query Language, it is not equivalent to basic SQL. It's not equivalent to basic SQL. USQL is totally different. So to perform transformations in ADF version 1, you have need to have the knowledge about ADLA, Azure Data Lake Analytics. Analytics are done by USQL here. unified structured query language, right? It's not similar to SQL, but it's different. And secondly, you need to have the knowledge about previously in ADF version 1 I'm talking. I'll come back to version 2, how flexible it is. HD insights. You need to have the knowledge about HD insights. There's nothing but Hadoop insights. Hadoop is a distributed computing cluster. Same big data Hadoop framework in Azure cloud. In Azure cloud. HD insights. Same big data Hadoop framework in Azure cloud is called as HD insights. Here we have a data flow language called Pig. Here we have got a data flow language called Apache Pig. Pig uses Pig Latin language. So previously, a lot of prerequisites using Pig. These data flows are written and transformations are performed. These data flows are written and transformations are performed. Okay. So you need to have the knowledge about HD insights. In that again, Pig Latin language you need to know. ADLA you need to know. Azure functions need to know. You have the knowledge. You need to have the knowledge of Azure functions. So these Azure functions are complex to implement. And you need to know about Azure Databricks. And about stored procedures. So to perform these transformations, you should be a developer first, and that too should be expert in first one, SQL. Expert in SQL scripting. Second, like Pig scripts, Azure functions, Azure Databricks, stored procedures. So USQL script, Pig scripts, Azure functions, Azure Databricks, stored procedures. So you need to have this much of prerequisites in ADF version 1. In version 2, all these are not required. So here, Pig using by Hadoop developer, Pig scripts by Hadoop developer, Azure functions, .NET developer, Azure Databricks by Spark developer, stored procedures by SQL developer. Okay, you need to have this much of things. You should be like Hadoop, Spark, SQL dot. This much is required. This was the problem with. This was the problem with ADF version 1. This was the problem with ADF version 1. Afterwards, afterwards, Microsoft recognized this problem and decided to make a ETL tool. To make a ETL tool with zero coding, That's why they launched a new version. They launched a new version. ADF version 2. ADF version 2. Previously, Informatica you have got. Previously, Informatica. 80% drag and drop. 20% writing SQL scripts. But here, ADF version 2. Total drag and drop. 100% drag and drop. It is a zero coding. Zero coding. It is a zero coding ETL. when you run the data flow, when you run the data flow, when you run the data flow, right? When you run the data flows are internally converted. Data flows are internally converted to Databricks. Data. These jobs are executed by Spark. Here, fine. So in ADF version 2, many flexible features are provided. 100% drag and drop. In previous informatics, 80% drag and drop, 20% used to write scripts. But here everything drag and drop, right? Yes. So no need of writing anything, right? There is no prerequisites for ADF. But as part of this course, I said I'll be discussing one second. Azure Data Factory, the first thing, no prerequisites for Databricks, right? Azure Databricks and PySpark. So here, lot of configurations we'll be doing. But from that, we'll be writing some code in Python. So that's why basic Python is the prerequisite for this Azure Databricks. Right. And I'll be making Data Factory, Databricks, PySpark, Azure Synapse. Apart from that, you'll be getting the knowledge on this SQL, data lake, Cosmos, and streaming. So in brief, as compared with other training sites, right? In brief about this PySpark will be discussed here. So totally this 8 products. So you will be getting each and every session video and the soft copy of these notes and the SMS and task to work with. Right. So from tomorrow, we'll be starting with the actual things. So from tomorrow, the link is going to be changed. So those who want to enroll, right? You can see in the chart, a big message is given by the online team. A big message is given by the online team, right? Check it once. The contact details are provided, payment details are provided. And that videos, if you have missed yesterday's session, you can just check with that video of it. And ADF course content, duration of all this will be around 3.5 months it goes. Yes, in brief, in depth, like Azure Data Engineer. And I said yesterday, our right, market of it as compared with other, we try to compare with any other technologies, right? Yes, it has got a great demand. Azure Data Engineer or this data engineers has got great demand, right? If you see lakhs of companies are getting registered Azure, right? More than 95% of the Fortune 500 companies utilizing cloud services, increasing the opportunities for Azure data engineers. Right. So major companies like even they are shifting to Azure, right? Already shifted to Azure, like even the pay scales. If we talk about the pay scales, data engineers has got the highest average salary as closely to data scientists, two highest paying jobs, data engineer and data scientists. So even if you talk about the companies, right? Companies such as Facebook, Intel, Microsoft, Amazon, or everything, they're interested in hiring data engineers at a great package. Tech giants like, okay, even tech giants including Google, Apple, Cognizant, Walmart also, they are offering high-paying jobs to data engineers. So if it's 1.5 times more than the other technologies, the salary for this, right? So these are the things, session we each and every session video you'll be getting. Everything will be hands-on. There's nothing theoretical, everything practical. I'll be showing you step by step how to create pipelines, any configurations, everything you can do parallel along with me. Soft copy of the class notes, you'll be getting clear soft copy of it. Assignments and talks to work with. Right. And that WhatsApp group for technical discussions, or if you've got any errors, you can take the snap and post in the group. You'll be giving that response, or anybody in the group can give that response. Right. Interview questions and resumes. Right. Yes. And all the sessions are interactive sessions. And so for whatever I type, you will be responding what is the expected result for it. Okay. Once you can check with the course content, right? This is the course content which is going to be discussed. Once again, check with this course content, right? Azure Data Factory. Top level components, pipelines, activities, linked to services, data sets, triggers, pipelines, a linked service. What is a data set? Yes, tables in weight, append variables, copy data, Databricks notebook, Azure functions, get metadata, executing the pipeline, filter for each, triggers, schedule trigger, tumbling window, storage event triggers, parameters, integration runtime, autos, resolve integration runtime, auto managed virtual network, source control is all this you can see alerts, data flows, what data flows, different types of data flows, group by filter, pivot, unpivot, flattens, stringify, validating the schema, removing duplicates, right? Slowly changing dimensions, LCD types using mapping data flows in this LCD type 1, type 2, right? How to create trigger dependencies, sending mail notifications, implementing the pipelines, Azure DevOps boards, Azure DevOps repos, right? How to integrate ADF with the DevOps, and how to import ARM templates set to global parameters. LCD types, right? Removing duplicates. So nearly 50 tasks I'm going to discuss as part of this course. Apart from that, Databricks, before I go with Databricks, will be given introduction to big data, introduction to Hadoop, introduction to Spark, before we go with Azure Databricks. Introduction to this Azure, right. So here, Databricks cluster management, displaying, set, starting, terminating, deleting, cluster informations, types of cluster, all-purpose cluster, job clusters, the Databricks tools, clustered mode, quickly Databricks integration with different storages, handling multiple files, Databricks batch processing, historical data load, data transformations, window processing, Databricks streaming API, Lakehouse platform, right? And Azure Synapse. This is the course for Azure Synapse, right? So mainly these things will be discussed in brief with multiple, around three and a half the course will be for this. Apart from that, you'll be getting knowledge on this Azure SQL, data lake streaming, and Cosmos DB. Okay. So yes, from tomorrow we'll be starting with the actual things. So tomorrow I'll be starting with this. Link will be changing tomorrow. You are supposed to get enrolled to get the link to your mails. From tomorrow onwards, you'll be getting the videos to your Google Drives, notes to your mail ID. A WhatsApp group will be created tomorrow. You'll be added to that. And the sessions you can do parallel along with me, right? Yes. Yes, I said right yesterday. Yeah.